I was wrong. Florence is more than just a bunch of art museums. This place has inspired people for generations. People you might not consider artists in the first place. Because they say everyone has an artistic side. Except, I think mine got lost somewhere. So today, I'm in Florence to see if I can find it. Florence will get some help from the dead artist buried in this church and from the creator of this contraption. Because if I'm not an artist, maybe I need to just give up on this. Let's get into this place. Florence drops this giant work of art at my feet the moment I arrive. That's not a painted facade. The Cathedral of Santa Maria della Fiore is covered in thousands of pieces of marble, all inlaid by hand. This place would give anyone a bad case of imposter syndrome. But then Florence tells me a story. Filippo Brunelleschi was not the most qualified architect at the time. There were no proven methods for how to build this massive freestanding dome, but somehow he was the one who figured out how to keep it from falling. Surprisingly, over a lifetime of experience, Brunelleschi would eventually be known as one of the founders of Renaissance architecture. Florence insists, artists aren't born, they're made over time, experience, and a lot of uncertainty. And if anything can make you uncertain about your own creative abilities, it's this. Absolute perfection. This is the version of art most of us carry around in our heads. Michelangelo didn't just raise the bar with David. He set it impossibly high. Which is exactly why Florence shares a secret with me that most people never hear. This piece of marble was rejected by other artists. It was considered unsuitable for sculpture, not because it wasn't beautiful, but because it wasn't perfect. Perfectionism is the killer of creativity. Michelangelo didn't wait for the perfect block of marble. He worked with what everyone else walked away from. I wonder how much art never gets made because we're waiting for the perfect conditions. Florence is offering me permission to accept mistakes as part of creating, but I'm still not convinced. So I go ask the dead artist himself. At the Church of Santa Croce, Michelangelo lays resting in this beautiful 700-year-old creation. I'm surprised to find he's not alone. Florence introduces me to some of the other dead creators laid to rest here. Niccolò Machiavelli. Not a painter or a sculptor. He was a creator of power. Machiavelli is known as one of the founders of modern political theory. In his book, The Prince, he rewrote the rules of how power actually works. Florence gives me something unexpected to think about. You don't need to make art to be an artist. She also introduces me to another one of Machiavelli's dead roommates, Galileo Galilei. At a time when most people believed the universe revolved around the Earth, Galileo is the one who said it didn't. He thought creatively, in the face of the most powerful institution of the time. The church didn't just disagree, they punished him for his creative ideas. Galileo spent the rest of his life under house arrest, not for being wrong, but for refusing to stop thinking in a new way. Florence shows me that creativity isn't always rewarded. It makes me wonder, would I be willing to live with that level of discomfort for the sake of what I creatively believe? It also makes me wonder, is it time to eat yet? At Vini La Mescita, I feed my creativity, a real place with real food. In Italy, great art starts with great ingredients. It's all about knowing what belongs together, even if it is heated in a microwave. Hey, who am I to question the creative process? This is the most delicious creation I've tasted all day. Florence isn't saying art has to be precious. She reminds me that great things come from working with what you've got. But it's hard to think of yourself as an artist when you compare yourself to the most famous dead artist in history. The Leonardo da Vinci Museum is filled with full-scale interactive replicas built from the artist's original notebooks, the same pages he used to sketch paintings like The Last Supper we saw in Milan. Leonardo didn't separate art from engineering. A machine sketch lived beside a portrait study, things that look like they could have taken flight, but didn't. Most of these ideas never became reality. Not because they were wrong, but because they were unfinished on purpose. And that's the point that Florence is making. In the Renaissance, invention wasn't about finished products. It was about understanding how something might work. And once Leonardo understood that, he often moved on. By today's standards, that looks like failure. Florence isn't showing me an artist who played it safe. She's showing me someone who is willing to fail big or go home. Because art isn't perfect execution. It's about stepping into uncertainty without knowing how it's all going to turn out. And that fact gets louder the moment I step into the Uffizi Gallery. This place houses names that didn't just succeed, they defined art. Walking through these rooms doesn't just invite comparison, it creates an impossible benchmark. You're not just comparing yourself to other artists, you're comparing yourself to the very idea of greatness. And that has a way of quietly shutting you down. What makes it worse is that this place was never meant to be a museum. As the name implies, the Uffizi were built in the 16th century as offices, and one family's filing system became the most intimidating art collection on Earth. The Medici family filled these halls with their art. They were bankers, power brokers, patrons. Through their funding of creativity, they established the artistic standard for generations to come. And these hallways, they were built to feel like this, intentionally overwhelming. Standing here, it's hard not to feel small. They say comparison is the thief of joy. Florence seems to be asking a harder question though. If comparison can steal your joy, what else has it taken from you? I want to toss comparison right into the river as I cross the Ponte Vecchio. Since its construction in 1345, this has been a place to sell. Before the art of gold and jewelry filled these shops, this bridge was lined with butchers and merchants. But it's always required people to make things good enough for someone to actually buy. In the 1500s, the Medici family decided Florence should look a little more refined. So they cleared out the butchers and replaced them with goldsmiths. These artists weren't trying to redefine history. They were just trying to make enough to live, while at the same time expressing themselves creatively. Self-expression is part of every artist, but you still gotta eat. At Berberè Pizzeria San Frediano, creativity shows up on a plate again. Montorine fritte, fried dough, finished simply, one of the oldest ideas in Italian cooking. Florence seems to be reminding me that creativity doesn't have to be heavy. This kind of creativity isn't trying to impress, it's just trying to connect. Maybe being an artist isn't about greatness at all. Maybe it's about making something honest and enjoying it. Walking back here, I don't feel like I'm measuring myself against it anymore. I feel like I belong. And maybe that's the part I had wrong. It doesn't take an easel and a brush to make you an artist. It takes seeing something before anyone else does, feeling something and needing to express it in your own way to make sense of the world around you. That is art. So I guess I'll stick around here a little longer, but just a few hours from here, this place made me question whether I should leave Italy entirely.